Narayana. Hari Om and good morning from Niagara Falls. What makes karma yoga? What makes karma yoga is the intention, not the implementation. When we focus on implementation, when we focus on the action, it's karma. And this type of action creates more action. This is called karma bandha. We get stuck. I was just sharing with our group in Niagara Falls, we're too busy. So there's no space outwardly or inwardly. And so we don't think. So we believe we're engaged in karma yoga when it's actually just karma. The yoga comes in with a devotional attitude. The yoga comes in with the right intention. Last week, I'd given all of you a sadhana. Your sadhana was TOT. Think of thinking. Think of thinking. Because when we start to think of thinking, maybe that's the reality check that I'm not living as meaningfully as I outwardly appear to be. And that I should make that change. That I should live for self-development. I should live for Bhagwan. Through our Vedanta and Ramayana course, we are being exposed to the best ways in thinking and the worst ways in thinking. The best ways, we see how Sri Bharata is interpreting Bhagwan Rama going to the forest. I'll share more on that. We see the worst ways in thinking, Sri Bharata's mother. How she thinks she's doing this for her son, when in actuality it's her justified selfishness. Ramayana shows us what our lifestyle should be like. The strongest disciple will implicitly live like Bhagwan Rama. That's Ramayana, the ayana, the ways that Rama lived, or the ways to Rama. Now, for many of us, obedience is difficult. We're too egotistical to follow the wise. We're too egotistical to even abide by rules, which is why this is called Vedanta in Ramayana. To provide that vision for why our lifestyle should be like this. We're very intellectual people. We want to know why. We want the yukti as to this is the type of behavior we should manifest. Okay? Coming back to a couple of weeks ago, in our last Ramayana class, Sri Bharata is in the assembly with Rishi Vashishta and all, and Sri Bharata is saying, we should go and seek Bhagwan Rama's advice about what should happen now. And this is most meticulous in thinking, because according to our tradition, the Raja can never be the Praja. The king can never be a citizen. The Raja is Bhagwan Vishnu. The Raja should feel like that. The people should feel like that too. Now, Shri Bharata is fortunate because Bhagwan Rama is Bhagwan Vishnu. So who should be the Raja? It should be Bhagwan Vishnu. Furthering this more, a jiva should never take before giving. This is why we offer Naivedyam and take prasad. So Bhagwan Rama has not been offered the kingdom thus far. So this should be offered to Bhagwan Rama. And whatever comes from his decision should be prasad then. So that's what Shri Bharata is going to do. The jiva is to take all as prasad. But we should keep offering. And later on, we're going to meet a beautiful lady named Shabari. Outwardly not so beautiful, inwardly the most beautiful. And some people point out that she was eating those berries, those bear, before offering. She was taking before giving. Now one cannot compare themselves to Shabari. Shabari sensed no difference between herself and Bhagwan Rama. She was just feeding herself. Right? You don't have this formality of passing food from the left to the right. It's all you. So incomparable. But that's how our love should be. Raja Dasharatha, Rani Kaikeyi, and Shri Bharata, none of them wanted Bhagwan Rama to be in the forest. And so they're going to seek Bhagwan's advice right now. And there's a famous doha, which I want you to just know that it's famous, to memorize this. This is the doha for the 204th section of Chaupais. Aratha na dharma na kama ruchi, gati na chahu niraban. Janma janma rati rama pada, yaha baradanu na an. Artha, dharma, kama. I'm not interested. Shri Bharata is telling the assembly, I'm not interested in artha, dharma, or kama. Those are the lower three P's. Artha is possession, dharma is position, and kama is pleasure. And he's not interested in nirvana. Nirvana is when the ego is blown out. So here he's not interested in peace either. Janma janma. I want to be born again and again with love to the pada of Rama. That is what I want for me. That is what I want for my life. In Ramayana, in Bhakti Shastras, we actually share that there's not 4 Purusharthas, but there's 5. The 4th Purushartha is moksha or peace, but the 5th Purushartha, which is even more subtle, is bhakti. It's when you've invoked peace and now you evoke that peace. This is for all of us, those who are in study groups. The expression of a study group is you begin to serve. And if we're not serving, then maybe we're not studying. For you to decide. I'm on the 217th section of Chaupais. That's 217. I'm reading the 4th Chaupai, the first line. Deki prabhau sure sahi sochu. Jugu bala balehi pocha kahu pochu. The Rishi Brihaspati is talking to Indra here. Now who's Brihaspati? He is the guru of the gods. And he's telling Indra is the chief of the gods, that for someone who is noble, the world is a noble place. But for someone who is ignoble, then the world is a ignoble place. So really, the world is a mirror to your mind. And he's sharing this, I'll tell you shortly, because Indra's afraid that Shri Bharata is going to Bhagwan Rama and is going to stop the plan that that Indra has. So leading up to this, Sri Bharata is feeling sad that it was his family that caused Bhagwan Rama to go to the forest. He's feeling that he should never have been born. And he's expressing these sentiments to Rishi Bharadwaj. Remember, Bhagwan Rama went from the Tamasa river to Bharadwaj Rishi. Now he's in Chitrakuta. So Sri Bharata is following the same path, and he's sharing this with Rishi Bharadwaj. And Rishi Bharadwaj consoles him in the most lovely ways, which I'm going to share shortly, but I will give you the katha first. That evening, all of the citizens, the ranis, the gurus, they're all staying at Rishi Bharadwaj's ashram. Now, how many of you have been to an actual ashram before, meaning an ashram in Bharat? Very few people have been to an ashram. We call Chinmaya Dhara an ashram too, but it's not the same as an ashram in a rural area of Bharat. These are not very expansive places. The rooms don't have air conditioning. You eat on the floor. I stayed at Vinoba Bhave's ashram in Karnataka. When I had finished the course, I was wandering through Bharat. And every day they would clean the ground with cow urine. And we would sit there and eat. To go to the bathroom, you literally just went outside. It wasn't covered in any which way. And this is where, they're growing their own vegetables, so there's other creatures that are there. It creates a lot of humility living in an ashram. So you have these thousands of people that are at this ashram, and Bharadwaj Muni just thinks of hospitality. And in that thinking, so many rooms are created, so many dining areas are created, so many beds are created. It's shared by a dint of his penance, of a iota of his tapas. He was able to create all of this. And we think about ourselves, we spend our whole lives fixing our homes, when the most efficient and effective way to do this is focus on your self-development, to know your potential. And so all of the people from Ayodhya, they stay that evening at Bharadwaj Muni's home. And then they continue the next day. Guha is leading them to Chitrakuta. And here's where we insert Indra. Indra is feeling very afraid that if Sri Bharata goes to meet Bhagwan Rama will come back to Ayodhya. And if Bhagwan Rama goes back to Ayodhya, then what will not happen? Ravana will not be stopped. So he goes to his guru, Brahaspati Rishi, and says, we should go and kill Sri Bharata. Indra is saying to his guru that we should go kill Sri Bharata. And Brahaspati Rishi says, though you have thousands of eyes, really you are blind. That you think that Sri Bharata is going to stop this welfare for humanity. Sri Bharata is conducive to the welfare of humanity. So Indra is feeling at ease temporarily. You'll find later he's at ease. It comes again. So they're walking. At one point, as they're walking, there's these group of devis. Their conversation is highlighted. And they're looking at Sri Bharata and Sri Shatrughna. And they feel like they're having deja vu because just a while back they saw Sri Rama and Sri Lakshmana, right? Sri Rama's dark, Shatrughna's dark, Sri Bharata's light, Sri Lakshmana's light. So these pairs, is that Bhagwan Rama and Sri Lakshmana that have come again? And it's wonderful. See what the Devis are talking about. They're talking about Bhagwan. Devis, you're listening to me, what you should be talking about. And then one careful Devi says, no, this cannot be Bhagwan Rama because this person is sad. She noticed that Sri Bharata is sad, so this can't be the same person who had come right before. And they're walking, and finally, Guha points out to Sri Bharata, that's Chitrakuta. That's where Bhagwan Rama is. And Sri Bharata prostrates to that whole area, to that whole mountain. We'll explore the Vedanta in what I've shared so far. Sri Bharata is feeling bad that his family was the cause for Bhagwan Rama's departure. And Rishi Bharadwaj says, you are the moon and Bhagwan Rama is the sun. And when you go to Bhagwan Rama, this will be the first time that the sun and moon are shining side by side. See, the moon depends on the sun completely. So you're feeling bad, but Bhagwan Rama knows you. He knows that you had no intention here. Sri Bharadwaj Muni tells Sri Bharata that Rishi Bhagirata was great because he brought the Ganga from Haripada, from the toe of Bhagwan Vishnu, to earth. But greater than Raja Bhagirata is Raja Dashrata. Why? Because they brought the water from Hari. Raja Dashrata brought Hari. Correct? He brought Bhagwan, not just the water from Bhagwan's toe. And then he says to Sri Bharata, and you are the greatest out of the three. You're greater than your father, you're greater than Raja Bhagirata. He says, Rama te adika Rama kara dasa. That greater than Rama is the dasa of Rama. Because we know Bhagwan Rama has come, Bhagwan Rama will go, but the dasa, the bhakti, the devotion, that's eternal. And this viyoga, this separation that you're experiencing between you and Bhagwan Rama, you're able to highlight what love should be. And that will live on forever. Isn't that the case? That in 2017 we're still studying this Bhakti Shastra. When Rishi Bharadwaj created all of this hospitality, everyone enjoyed other than Sri Bharata and the Rishi Bharadwaj. What's shared by Goswamiji, that even mentally they did not touch any pleasure, any possession, any position. They were that vigilant that this is how Bhagwan's living, we should live the same. They were that vigilant that it requires simple living to engage in high thinking. If you have too much stuff, you're going to be too busy, so there's not going to be space to think. That though Rishi Bharadwaj created all of this, he never touched any of this. And we can be the same way. We can be professionals, we can be at home, but we don't have to be dependent. We should live like that lotus that's living in dirt but is not dirty. Shifting to Indra, when Indra is concerned, he's afraid that Sri Bharata is going to stop Bhagwan Rama from stopping Ravana. Rishi Brihaspati says, your ignorance is a disease. Your selfishness, an ignorant person is selfish. Though they have eyes, they see themselves as separate from the people around them. That selfishness is what causes us to feel uneasy. That's why I use the word disease. We feel weaker. We feel more confused. But for people who are selfless, they try to bridge that separation. They have such clarity in their life, such conviction, such confidence. You can't stop such people. They're ready to give up their families, ready to give up their own lives for the nation, for humanity. Indra, he's the chief of the gods with a small g. And that's his ignorance that's keeping him there. At one point, the narration of Ambarisha is shared. Raja Ambarisha was just like Indra, correct? He was a Raja, he had lots. And Ambarisha's focus was so much on God and Guru that everything he did was for that. And at one point he was in a predicament. He was fasting, but he needed to break this fast. And who shows up? who always shows up to test everyone. Rishi Durvasa. He shows up. And Raja Ambarisha, he breaks his fast. Rishi Durvasa naturally gets married. So Rishi Durvasa pulls one of his mooch, one of his whiskers, and he snaps it on the ground, and it turns into this chakra, and it starts chasing Raja Ambarisha. And Raja Ambarisha is so devoted to Hari that Bhagwan sends his Sudarshana chakra, destroys Raja Ambarisha's chakra, and starts chasing Rishi Durvasa. And it's shared for an entire year. Rishi Durvasa ran and ran and ran from this Sudarshana chakra. And he went to Lord Shiva and said, please help me. He said, nope, this is the property of Bhagwan Vishnu. It says property of Bhagwan Vishnu. You have to go ask him. So he goes to Bhagwan Vishnu. Bhagwan Vishnu says, I also can't stop this. You have to go to Raja Ambarisha and ask him to stop this. So he goes back to Raja Ambarisha and asks him to stop this Sudarshana chakra. And he prays to Bhagwan Vishnu, and the chakra stops. And the most amazing part of this katha is that Raja Ambarisha felt sorry that Rishi Durvasa had to go through all of this. You know, we would think that's a perfect sign of revenge. He deserves that. But that's not how Raja Ambarisha thought. He felt sorry for Rishi Durvasa. Remember I said about how we should think. Raja Ambarisha is not ignorant, so he's not feeling separate, so he's not selfish. Indra is. And Indra has a greater position, but he doesn't have peace. I was in a workshop in Minneapolis yesterday on resiliency, and the other speaker was talking about framing. That when you take a circumstance, if you look at it from a limited frame, with a blinder, it seems very overwhelming. But if you can reframe that circumstance, you're able to adapt to that much more. And I'll give you an example of reframing. Remember those Devis I was mentioning who were noticing that, is this deja vu? Is this Bhagavan Rama again? Some of the Devis were saying that, what kind of mother was Keikei? That she sent Bhagavan Rama to the forest and so on and so forth. But the wise Devis were saying, true, but because of that, we got to see Bhagavan. We got to observe what bhakti is between Sri Bharata and Bhagavan Rama. See how that's reframed. And in that reframing, all changes. That's a fine strategy for our lives. Whenever we feel we're feeling separate, selfish, stressed, reframe. And all could change. The gentleman was sharing, he's a very knowledgeable and well-spoken physician. I speak with a lot of physicians, and he was one who really stood apart, and I took lots of notes while he was speaking. He said that his 5-year-old daughter had made this starfish for him, and when she came home by accident, it dropped, and he was waiting for her to cry. Right? This 5-year-old put in so much effort to make this starfish out of clay. And when she had it in her hands, she said, it used to be a starfish and now it's a sailboat. Because the top part still had the top and the sides, that now it's a sailboat. And she was smiling. And this father was so moved by that this 5-year-old knows how to reframe, isn't it? But then we get educated. We'll continue. There's never enough time. I'm supposed to finish this first part in 15 minutes. Already it's 11:25. But we'll try. Okay. I'm on the 240th section of Chopais. That's 240. I'm going to read the Doha, the first line and second line of the Doha. Bara basa liye uthai ura, laye kripa nidhan, Bharata Rama ki milani lekhi, bisare sabahi apan. And here's where Bhagwan Rama forcibly lifts Bharata off the ground and embraces him. And the second line says, anyone who's seen this. Now you're hearing me, but some of you may be seeing this as I'm speaking. Anyone who sees this, that person has lost their identification with the body, breath, mind, intellect, ego. They've lost all consciousness of that which is not divine. Are you seeing this? I'll share some more of the katha. I also wanted to point out, this is on page 403 in my text. My text has 791 pages. So really, we've now completed half the text based on pages. So we've come a long way in Ramayana. And your resiliency in continuing to study is very important because, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, people believe that they know Ramayana. And they know the katha. Lots of people can write about the katha. But these, and I'm only skimming the surface of the depth of this. You know, for us to study this will require 20 years. We'll hopefully finish this in 5 years. And I hope you can appreciate how much there is in every experience, every dialogue, and how practical it is, how this has to do with us. Sri Bharata is prostrated to the mountain. As he's doing this, we shift to Bhagwan Rama's position. Mother Sita had a dream that night, but it wasn't a dream, it was more like a nightmare. A nightmare that Sri Bharata and the whole army is coming through the forest to be with Bhagwan Rama. She's very disturbed by this dream. The next morning, she's telling Bhagwan Rama about this. And Bhagwan Rama, as he's hearing this, he starts to worry. In his worrying, who else is watching them the whole time? Sri Lakshmana, of course, is watching. So he's also hearing the dialogue. He's seeing Bhagwan Rama worried that just his, there's a pressure cooker, that lid, that blows up. Sri Lakshmana asks for permission from Bhagwan Rama to speak his mind. And does he speak his mind? He goes on to say that Sri Bharata planned all of this. Now that he's had the taste of being the king, he's coming to put an end to you so he can be the king forever. He's saying all of these things. Sri Lakshmana was saying this about Sri Bharata. He's reacting. And as Sri Lakshmana is saying this and he finishes, he's out of breath from saying all of this, enter Akashvani. There's an Akashvani that says, Sri Lakshmana, you have misunderstood Bhagwan Rama's worry. You've misunderstood your brother. That you should find out why Sri Bharata is there, not to react. This Akashvani, this voice from the skies, is sharing all of this. And so Sri Lakshmana, he calms down, he becomes quiet. And now we go back to Sri Bharata, and Sri Bharata keeps walking towards Chitrakuta and then keeps walking back. He takes 2 steps forward and another step back. He's taking the steps forward because he wants to be with Bhagwan Rama, but then he keeps thinking about Bhagwan Rama's in the forest because of him. He goes forward, he goes back, he goes forward, he goes back. And then he finally reaches where Bhagwan Rama is. And he prostrates. And in front of him is Sri Lakshmana. And Sri Lakshmana is looking at Bhagwan Rama. And when Bhagwan Rama notices Sri Bharata, he stands up and his bow goes one way, his arrows go one way. He didn't push Mother Sita, but you can visualize that she kind of went somewhere also. And he just went and hugged Sri Bharata. And Goswamiji writes, I stop writing now, because I cannot describe what I saw. Remember, someone who's seeing this, they have no more awareness of their equipment. So quickly I'll explain some of the Vedanta and all of this. why was Bhagwan Rama worried? His nature is joy. It's unbecoming for him to worry. So why the worry? Bhagwan Rama is worried because he's thinking about Raja Dashrata. His father asked him to not be the king. His father told him he should go to the forest. So that's what he's doing, but he also knows his brother. Unlike Mother Sita or Sri Lakshmana, he knows his brothers come to the forest to make him the king, to bring him back. So his worry is, how do I please both? What do I do? Isn't that our life also? Spouse wants us to do something, kids want us to do something else, we want to do something else, community wants you to do something else. Dharma Sankata. Even Bhagwan goes through this. Dharma Sankata. And this Akashvani is teaching us to pause. When we pause, we no longer react, instead we respond. That Akashvani, you're thinking, how come we don't hear Akashvanis? The Akashvani is always speaking, we're just not listening. Your intellect is that Akashvani. When we don't pause, we live by impulse, like an animal. But when we pause, we live by intellect. That is where that karma yoga comes in. This Akashvani has shared that Sri Bharata has not been corrupted. We say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And that's true for someone who's not in satsang. For someone in satsang, that power is always being directed towards the higher. For someone who's not in satsang, that power has a propensity to go lower. Ravana is a good example of that, no? Ravana has a lot of pleasure, he has a lot of possession, a lot of position, and he's a scholar also, but he's not in satsang. So that's why Ravana causes outer and inner destruction. That's not the case for Sri Bharata. When Sri Bharata is moving forward and moving backwards, he eventually reaches Bhagwan Rama, correct? That's called self-forgiveness. As we go about our sadhana, we're going to make mistakes. That I chanted this mantra this way. We're going to falter. I was supposed to wake up and read and reflect, but I slept in. Other people are going to make us think in the wrong way. So we will make mistakes and falter, but you have to forgive yourself and you have to keep on going forward. Because if we don't practice self-forgiveness, we will never make it to Bhagwan Rama. All of the sincere sadhakas, you must have felt very dejected in this mistake, in this faltering, but you have to keep moving forward. All of our Bhagavad Gita course students, I gave you that word, anirvinna chetasa, which means non-dejection. One has to be inspired. Final thought from the Vedanta point. I had shared that Goswamiji, he couldn't write anymore. He's so thoughtful. In Goswamiji's Ramayana, he sometimes uses the word iha and sometimes uses the word uha, not poha. You're all thinking iha and poha. Iha and uha. Iha means here, uha means there. Whenever he's writing about Bhagwan Rama, he says iha, that Goswamiji's with him. Whenever he's writing about Indra, Ravana, he says uha, there, that he's not with them. But now, there's a case where Bhagwan Rama and Sri Bharata are together, and where does he put himself? To Bhagwan Rama he says uha, and to Sri Bharata he says iha. That he's not with Bhagwan Rama, he's with Sri Bharata. And there's two reasons for that. One reason is that he knows that he is a bhakta and that Bhagwan is Bhagwan. Okay, I'm the Shishya and this is the Guru. And more so, the deeper meaning behind this, again, is that bhakti is forever. And by him putting himself with bhakti, that's Sri Bharata, he's giving us the message that our responsibility is to be a bhakta forever. Every space, every time, every circumstance. This whole portion is completed by Goswamiji not calling this Chitrakuta, he calls this Rama Shaila. This is no longer Chitrakuta, this is the mountain of Rama, or the mountain of joy. Oh.